after election, he walked in at 8:05. I'm like, I said I wasn't going to stay up and get caught up in it. But you did.
Streaming on the First Federal Facebook page and on WROI. It's time for the First Federal Program.
And good morning. It is time for the First Federal Program as we welcome Tanner and Todd to the show this morning. Good morning, Todd. How are you?
Morning, Randy. Beautiful morning today.
Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful day.
It's always a beautiful day when it's time for the First Federal Program.
Well, that's very kind.
Yes.
We have a special guest today, Jana Vance, Superintendent of the Rochester Community School Corporation. Welcome, Jana.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No problem. It's going to be a beautiful day, beautiful weekend.
It is. It is. It's going to be another fall-like weekend.
No rain, looks like, right? Or maybe Sunday?
Sunday. Sunday looks like it, but it's going to clear out for Veterans Day Monday. So.
Veterans Day. Great day coming up on Monday. There are some community activities happening on Monday.
Yep.
The VFW Post 1343 and the American Legion Post 36 will begin celebrations at approximately 10:45 on Monday in the Fulton County Courthouse lawn. The ceremony will conclude at 11 a.m. with the bells ringing. It will include speeches, national anthem, raising of the flag, pledge of allegiance, prayers, taps. So if you're out Monday morning, celebrate our veterans. Come out and see that about 10:45ish at the County Courthouse Square.
And if you can't make it, we'll have it here on Giant FM as well.
That's great. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Jana, are there any activities going on for Veterans Day this week at
Sure,
school?
absolutely. So this week we have been inviting veterans into the different buildings for a lunch with their students. So sometimes we're seeing fathers, grandfathers, aunts, uncles, grandmas who have all served. I'm honored to bring my dad in today, who was part of the 101st Airborne, so excited to have lunch with him. We have choir concerts, which will happen in honor of Veterans Day, and then within each of the classrooms, just stressing to our students the importance of Veterans Day and what it truly means to the nation.
That lunch idea is a great idea. I've
Sure.
bringing them in, and they probably love that coming in and visiting with the kids.
They do. I think at Columbia today, Jason has about 65 parents coming in.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yes, absolutely. We're excited.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
After the ceremony on the Courthouse Square on Monday, the American Legion will be hosting a chili lunch, and later that day, the VFW Post is having a dinner from 4 to 7.
Yep. All veterans are welcome.
So we're grateful for the service of the veterans. If you know a veteran, give them a handshake, a hug, give them a phone call, tell them thank you. I want to thank you all our veterans. Presidential election last week.
It's done. It's over.
That's our trivia today.
Uh-oh.
It's not as tough as you might think it'd be. I mean, we're not going to get into any controversies. This is kind of a question. How many U.S. presidents have been elected on November 8th?
Ooh. Wow. I'm glad you do A, B, C, D here.
Yeah. A, 6, B, 7, C, 8, D, 9. You can answer that at the end of the show. Janet, you're welcome to play along, okay?
Sounds like a tough one to me.
Yeah.
This is a very obscure.
Yeah, very. Yeah. Tanner's scratching the bottom of the barrel for trivia today, apparently.
Yeah, a little research went into this.
I was going to say, yeah.
You didn't know the answer before you did this. did you?
No.
Okay.
And my answer wasn't even one of the choices. So that tells you anything.
I thought it was a trick question.
Not this
Yeah,
week.
maybe nobody, right?
Yeah.
So sports, Tanner.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of sports going on. It's that fun time of year where you start mixing in the end of fall sports and the start of winter sports and all that.
The girls basketball started last night with Randy being on the broadcast.
Yeah, Lady Zebras got a win
They
over
did.
North Judson.
46-43.
Nothing like a close, tight game to get your announcing season underway.
That final fourth quarter was a little scratchy.
Back at it tomorrow.
Back at it tomorrow, 7 o'clock, with the Casson Comets and the Rochester Lady Zebras home opener.
Should be a fun one.
It will be. Always the county rival games.
Yeah.
Always, throw the records out. It doesn't matter because when you got kids that know each other, it's always a fun one. So.
Know each other from all kinds of sports. Yep.
It'll be a fun one.
Yep. College football still going hot and heavy. We're getting down to the wire now with the playoff standings. The first playoff rankings, I should say, came out Tuesday night, and Indiana found their way in the playoffs.
8th or 9th. It's kind of weird how they rank this with BYU in there, but they're in there at least. And And if they are that good, they'll work their way up.
Right. Notre Dame's also in the mix right now at 10, I believe. They're in 10th seed. So a few games left to play, and we'll see how things shake out.
Big weekend though.
Big weekend. Yeah, Indiana is a 14-point favorite at home tomorrow against Michigan, who's 5-4. That game's at 3:30 on CBS. I was telling you guys before we got on there, I think if Indiana wins this game, I think they'll end up making the playoff. If they lose, then it all hangs on the game in Columbus.
Big game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At least we're here at this point. I never thought we'd be
I was
talking
gonna say, normally we're talking about
Living
next
the
year
pipe
already.
dream.
about
Yeah.
all the years I followed IU football and went through.
November, you're usually talking about what's the plan for next year, or we're talking basketball already, right?
Right.
That's where I am. But Purdue does have a game tomorrow, and they do play Ohio State on the road. Purdue's 38-point underdogs, largest line in Purdue football history, I believe.
The Fox Big Noon game.
Yep, Fox Big Noon game, and next week for the Penn State home game, they put them on 3:30 CBS, so
Wow.
they just can't get away from the national
limelight.
embarrassment. But that's what happens when you play a number 3 team, number 6 team.
I think I've seen a 38-point like spread like that for a while.
It's been a long time. I know Stanford one year when Jim Harbaugh was there were 41-point underdogs when they beat USC.
Yeah.
But Jim Harbaugh's a pretty darn good coach. So.
Right. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, they better get some turnovers early and get out to a
Make
multiple
it,
touchdown lead. But
make it exciting early.
yeah. Notre Dame's back in action tomorrow. Like I said, they're ranked number 10. They're 26.5-point favorites against Florida State, who is 1-8.
Yeah.
One of the most disappointing teams, if not the most disappointing team in the country this year. They started ranked 9th start year. That's a night game up at South Bend tomorrow night, 7:30 on NBC.
Those are really big spreads this weekend.
Yeah, some big ones.
Yeah.
And Ball State already played this week. A
Okay.
lot of the Mid-American Conference teams played Tuesday night.
Oh.
It's that time of year, the MACtion, they call it. November kind of starts playing there the weekdays. They fell to Miami, Ohio by a score of 27-21. So they're now a record of 3-6.
So you go from Saturday to Tuesday.
Saturday, quick turnaround
Yeah,
there.
no kidding.
So
That's kind of not
I
very
think
good.
Ball State had a bye.
Yeah, not very good for the
No.
college Saturday experience for
No.
parents coming to
Yeah,
visit
right.
kids and
Yeah.
football experience.
Yep.
I
Not
suppose
sure that they-
they'll have some basketballs mixed in there, so
Yeah.
that's kind of probably why they
That's true.
move it around a little bit.
And speaking of basketball, Purdue and Indiana, their season's already underway. Both got wins this week. Purdue beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and Indiana beat
Edwardsville.
Southern Illinois of Edwardsville.
Yeah.
It's making it really a year you've got to like
Yeah,
north,
you
south,
really
east, west, some
yeah.
town involved.
Yep.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't understand sometimes. I mean, you look at some of the big school that they're not playing these other smaller schools like that. They're playing at least some D2. I mean, some maybe smaller D1s to get you ready. And IU has always just done this weird, and I don't. And then sometimes they pay for it once they get into the Big Ten season.
Well, I know like tonight Purdue plays Northern Kentucky and Indiana plays Eastern Illinois on Sunday. Both those games are on Big Ten Plus, Big Ten Network Plus. But starting next week, next Friday, Purdue hosts Alabama.
Yeah,
Purdue's ranked number 2,
which is great.
Purdue has a tough schedule.
Yeah, and I think Matt Painter does that on purpose to try to get them ready to go conference season. And
You can't
gotta take some lumps. You got to take some lumps.
You got to take your lumps, get better.
Yeah.
You can't get better if you're playing people that you're supposed to be dominating.
Right. So, but the last 3 seasons, Purdue's went undefeated during the non-conference season. I would be absolutely shocked if that happens this year.
Right.
But we'll see. But it's fun to be talking about both football and basketball right now. And lastly, for sports, pro football, Bears took a tough one on the chin at Arizona last week, so now they're 4-4. They are 6.5-point favorites against the Patriots, who are 2-7. That game's Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox. And the Colts fell to the Vikings. Now their record's 4-5. They host the Bills, who are 7-2. The Bills are 4-point favorites. That game's at 1 o'clock on CBS, but also right here on WROI.
Yep. Noon pregame, 1 o'clock kickoff.
That'll be a big one for the Colts. They need their schedule's starting to get really tough.
Yeah, and people start. They got flexed already for next week, and some movement around already if they can't win. So a lot of controversy there.
Got some tidbits here this morning. Only a couple today. There was a lot of positive ones today. Besides, of course, presidential elections, but that was part of our trivia, so I didn't want to name all those. But on this day in 1731, Benjamin Franklin opened the first library on the North American colonies. It was in Philadelphia.
makes sense.
And on this day in 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed an antitrust immunity to merge the AFL and NFL.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep. So here we got a few days here. Today's National Ample Time Day, National Cappuccino Day, World Town Planning Day, National Parents as Teachers Day, Cook Something Bold and Pungent Day. There you go, right?
There you go.
World Radiology Day, National Harvey Wallbanger Day. It's also Shot Day, which
Goes right along with
goes
it.
right along with it, and National Dunce Day.
That's me,
So-
in the corner with a hat on.
So you're gonna go home and cook some
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts or something like
yeah,
that?
yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
those are always kind of pungent.
Yep. So if you like something pungent, there you go.
There you
There's
go,
your
perfect.
excuse.
We have some upcoming events. You may need to help me with this,
Uh-oh.
Randy. I'm not sure how you pronounce this. The Time Seed or Rock Concert tomorrow. Is it the
Wallabies?
Okay.
Is that, I think
Woomblies?
it's I think it's the Wallabies.
Okay. Well, sorry for getting this
Yeah.
wrong. So there's a concert tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Times Theater. Sounds like a great group. 9 musicians, 4-piece string section. They'll be playing some of the greatest rock music of all time.
Beatles, ELO, yeah.
Dave
Sounds like a
Matthews, I
great
saw
time.
it on
Yeah.
the marquee.
Sounds
today.
like a great evening.
Also, the Shop with the Cop event is gearing up. The run walk will be 5K run walk will be November 23rd at 9:30 a.m. at the St. Joseph Catholic Church on Main Street. For more information, call Charlie Schwenk at 574-835-4890 or Gail Carris 734-835-2992.
There
It's
you
always
go.
a good event,
Yeah.
and they do good things with our youth and community and help provide Christmas for some families. Flowers, everyone that volunteered at the polls, thanks for that work.
Makes a long day.
Kind of a thankless job. But also, I kind of had to throw another flowers in there that everyone that was kind to one another during this election season. It was tough to do that, but
Yeah.
we need to make sure we treat each other with dignity. That's great. Money news this week. Dow increased a lot during this week, almost 2,000 points.
Yeah. Big week.
Finished about even yesterday at almost 43,800 points. Also, yesterday the Federal Reserve cut the interest rate by 0.25%. It's our latest step to prevent large rate increases from the prior 2.5 years as the labor market goes and they try to ease inflation. The Fed cut rates in September, so we're on a downward trend, but unfortunately some rates are still going up. Mortgage rates are going up, which is kind of contrary to what you thought would happen.
Right.
But that will all work itself out in the economy over the next few weeks and months.
Patience, right? Patience.
Yeah. You know, Tanner says, what does Dick say usually about the stock market?
It's either going to go up or going to go down,
Yeah.
one way or the other. So.
So the bank will be open on Monday, let
Okay.
everybody know for Veterans Day. A lot of places are closed, but the bank will be open. It'll be normal hours today and tomorrow. You can always bank with us 24 hours a day, anytime you want, through our mobile banking or through our ATMs. We're offering Simply Free checking accounts, Simply Free business checking accounts. When you open a new checking account, you get a free gift. It's a massage pillow.
Yes.
Kenner brought that last week.
Yes. Looked
If you wanna
awesome.
See what that looks like, check out our previous week's YouTube show. Still making mortgage loans. We're the leader in the market for that. Contact Ben Dalton or Stacy Wilson at our Rochester branch to get pre-approved or to see how we can help your family with any type of mortgage lending needs that you have. Zach Reuter is busy in commercial loans, active in that market. We've got Mark Blubaugh and Brian Bell with the financial side for investments and things like that. So we're a full service shop where if you have a need, we can meet that need. Don't hesitate to give us a call or stop in one of our offices. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, or subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can see a history of the previous shows for beginning of time almost.
Seems like
A
it,
good
right?
handful of years.
We're the only locally owned bank in Fulton County. We don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. We are FDIC insured and an equal housing lender. Our NMLS number is 399927.
We are now legal. Time for the fun stuff.
We welcome Jana Vance, Rochester School Corporation Superintendent, to the show. thanks again.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
participating a little bit. We're here to talk today about the ambassador program.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about what the ambassador program is. Our listening audience may not know that.
Sure. So last year I started an ambassador program, just wanting to be able to share out what the school does behind the scenes. I think respectfully, the majority of us have been in a classroom seat. We have received instruction, we've gone through the educational process, but it's much different when you were a teacher leading a classroom, when you were a principal leading a building, and then for superintendents leading a district. That looks much differently than it does when you're sitting in a classroom seat. So just trying to bring the behind the scenes to the community so that they understand better what each department does, the importance of educational processes, and also to dispel some of those myths and rumors that oftentimes happen through social media or on the networks and everything with the misinformation that's put out there.
So most of us know the schools from our experiences,
Sure.
then through our kids' experiences, or our neighbors' experiences. But as we become adults and become older, we kind of lose sight of, the importance of the school corporation in the community. And this is really an awareness program of letting the community know more about, what makes the school corporation tick. And
Right.
it's a very complicated process. I've been invited to participate in the
Sure.
ambassador program. I'm very grateful for that. And I've been in 2 sessions so far and learned quite a few things already that I didn't know. So I think that's kind of what your goal is, right?
Absolutely, and Randy was part of the very first group last year that went through, so he may be able to chime in as well, but it's absolutely just having that open dialogue, being able to answer questions, allowing those at the table to have a different perspective and to engage in those conversations for deeper understanding.
I didn't realize you're in the program, Randy. So what do you want to recall from last year?
Well, I think one of the biggest things too is, as Janice mentioned, that there's also the reason why. Why are decisions
Sure.
made the way they are? Everybody thinks that maybe it's personal preference or something like that, and there's a whole laundry list of how and why you can do things that the state puts out. So, that helps get that out a little bit too, I think, because, everybody can sit back and say, why did you do this? But I did it the way, for lack of better terms, the superintendent manual from the state says. There's certain guidelines that the
And
state
there's
says.
legal rights for everybody
exactly.
that's involved.
So,
You got to protect those.
unfortunately, that's is it always the way that the school or the community wants? Not always, and sometimes you have to accept that and move on.
Correct. Well said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've been in 2 sessions so far, and the most recent session was learning about all that goes into school safety. We talked about the school buses and
Sure.
the routes
Sure.
and the protocols and the safety. That's one thing I learned. And interesting fact, why don't you share this? When you clear the campus at the end of the day,
Sure.
you do that in a safely and an orderly manner, but
Correct.
let everybody know of the time that takes.
Sure. So I share with the class, first of all, that we all have to agree. We have students who are going to walk to school, students who are going to ride bikes, roller skate. You have parents pick up and drop off. We have, for our employees, we may take students across the community to get them with their parents at the respectful building. We have our buses which depart. And from the time the bell rings until the time we clear campus, at each of the building sites runs between 8 and 11 minutes. So we are able to safely disperse over 1,500 students, 300 employees, all of that traffic in 8 to 11 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Biggest transportation in Fulton County.
Well, that's one of the things.
Largest, that is correct.
That's one of the things you think about. I mean, it's really a kind of a major, like almost commercial corporation. Some of the things the school corporation does. Largest transportation, largest caterer,
Correct.
some other largest employer.
One of the largest, yes,
Yeah.
if not the largest, absolutely.
So that's what the
These
ambassador
are
program.
making me nervous when you start talking about it. It's like, oh, it makes me nervous.
Well, you've had an impression. We've remembered that from the classes so far. So that's good. So
So
what
just wait till you get to see it all happen.
Yeah.
On the last of it, when you get to be in that parking lot as what you think is going to be mass chaos happens, and 10 minutes later it's done.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I realized that until we were talking last time. There's going to be some hands-on learning with this.
Yeah.
Correct, so, I try to take everybody through different departments within the district, as Randy said, policies, procedures, decision-making. This
Budget.
budget, absolutely, finance is a huge
Yeah.
component of that. This month, we're focusing specifically on school safety, doing a deeper dive into that. But the concluding session, you will be working with food service hand in hand, doing breakfast preparation, leading small groups, welcoming students into the district. I think Randy may have made a student cry during that morning, and
yes,
Kendra had to calm
They're,
them.
they were used to seeing Mr. Snyder, and I guess I'm not as good looking as Mr. Snyder, so the kid didn't want to get out of the car. So, and just guess what? Here come Mr. Snyder, and the kid jumped right out of the car and went about his day. So,
It can be intimidating.
I guess so.
Leading small groups, all of those things. So we want you not only to hear about it and learn about it, but also to be a part of it. And so that will be our last session.
The ambassador program seems like it's a unique program. What motivated you to start this?
So I think a lot of different things did. One was when school board members come on, and we have a very strong, very engaged school board. And yet when they come on, even those who have been in education, it's eye-opening for them. They have all shared it's a 4 to 6 month learning curve. They have these preconceived notions going in as to what the board does and how things work, and then they get engaged, they learn, and it's very eye-opening. So that was one reason. The other is there is a lot of misinformation, and I know that we talked about elections and everything, and so many times education is politicized, and that doesn't need to happen either. And so if people don't know or understand, they tend to fill in the blanks with something that isn't accurate. And so doing the best that we can as a district to fill in those blanks with the accurate information.
So sometimes the mission of the school corporation probably gets misunderstood, right?
Absolutely.
So what is your mission as a superintendent with the school corporation?
So our mission is to inspire individuals to learn, grow, and give. As a superintendent, I think it's important. My very first, what I'm dedicated to every day is safety. If students aren't in a safe place emotionally, socially, mentally, they're not going to be able to absorb the education that we are able to provide to them. So safety is first and foremost. Without that, we don't have anything else. And that transcends into the faculty and staff, making sure that they are safe. And so then from there, it just continues down. Safety involves making sure your facilities are up to date, making sure that you are following all of the legal processes to ensure the safety, and it just continues the finances to make sure that you can continue with that. I think more times than not, people think of education first, and it's absolutely a vital part of what we do, but without that safety component first, all else is for naught.
That's what was impressed upon me, just the safety, and that's just one aspect of it.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
safety is really important, and I just learned some things about the screening of the school bus drivers and the training they go through,
Absolutely.
and then the replacement of the buses, and even just the thought process when it comes down to weather decisions, and
Absolutely.
your goal is to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
I
Mother
wasn't going to
Nature-
mention weather because I get in trouble with Mrs. Vance when I mention weather.
That's right. Mother Nature does not always play kind.
Those 5:30 text messages, phone calls. She didn't like it.
But the key is keeping the kids and the community safe.
Absolutely, first and foremost.
And that's what the decisions come down to, is
Sure.
what is best interest for safety.
And we have a lot of community partners in that. The county, the city, the mayor plays an integral role. He's been very helpful with the crosswalks and continuing to grow the safety there. But without first responders, Indiana State Police, everybody coming together, and we do that monthly, to come together and to better understand how to support safety and make sure that we're doing the absolute best that we can. It takes a village. It truly does.
We're talking with Jana Vance, Superintendent of the Rochester Community School Corporation, about the ambassadors program. So you have ambassadors in the program. Now, how many ambassadors are there in the program?
So Randy helped me out. Were there maybe 8?
So we had 7 or 8 last year.
I think there's 7 or 8 now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so what we ask the ambassadors to do is to be involved in Rochester schools, not just while on campus at a sporting event or at a try-up production, but also out in the community. If they hear something that just doesn't sound right based on what they've learned, to either help guide that thought process or say, wait a minute, I know somebody in the district now that we can get a hold of directly and we can get the accurate information around that and helping to promote what Rochester Schools does in a positive manner.
It's great. I've enjoyed the program so far. I've been to 2 sessions or 1 session every month.
Correct.
What are some of the upcoming other sessions so our community knows kind of what you're doing with the ambassador
Sure.
program?
So as Randy said, we started with school finance, which I think is an eye-opener. So many unfunded mandates, so many moving pieces of the puzzle from the timing of budget to teacher contract to the fiscal year, those types of things.
I
And
think
what
that'd
you
be
can and what you can and can't do with money. There's certain
Correct,
things that,
correct.
this budget item, line item can only pay certain
Correct.
things, that you just can't move it to help fund something else.
Correct.
I think that'd be very eye-opening for communities to know you have some major unfunded
That
mandates
is
that
correct.
you have to, I mean, like Randy said, you can't move from like one pocket to the other.
Correct.
You have to make sure that you can pay for those unfunded mandates.
Absolutely. You guys have learned a lot.
What's an example of one unfunded mandate?
So, maybe, so we talk about unfunded mandates and also partially funded mandates. So there was a period of time, an unfunded mandate was that every school district, no matter what their ELL population, so that's English as a second language, no matter what their population was, you had to have a person that was responsible for that, and they had to be specially licensed, they had to meet all of the criteria. So there was a point in time when Rochester Schools, an unfunded mandate, hired somebody for that program, and we had, at that time, maybe less than 6 students. So full-time position, full-time benefits. Not that that's not important, but we were able to service that population without that unfunded mandate, without that position. Our population has grown, and so now it is meaningful and purposeful. A partially funded mandate would be what was great for the Vance family and for other families, and that is free textbooks. So for families and individuals within the community, that's absolutely a blessing. For school corporations, that was a partially funded mandate. We didn't know it was coming, and what the state is giving us does not provide in full what we were gathering from the textbook rental process. So that takes a hit on our educational fund, and then that trickles down into what you can offer in salary and benefits to employees.
So thank you. I got you diverted a little
No,
bit.
that's okay.
We were
Sorry.
talking about the ambassador program.
Right.
What are some of the other sessions coming
So
up?
we, school safety assessment in January, I think it's one of everybody's favorites. It's policies, procedures, Indiana code, and decision making. So essentially, why did she make that decision? And we do drive deeper into that. We also cover, as Randy said, we get everybody out into the buildings, and being part of those departments. We'll talk about curriculum, instruction, and assessment,
And the testing, yeah.
and the testing, and why we go through those things.
Well, I think one of the other neat things is too is the behind the scenes that you find that Jana and her staff and the committees are working to. What do we need moving forward so these kids continue to get education? The big push was college. We've talked about this before. Now it's not necessarily college, it's workforce. What do these kids need? And that goes back into the playground, the sandbox, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But the time and effort that goes behind the scenes to do some of that.
So we're living this school year right now. The 2024-2025 school year obviously is underway. As an administrative team and with the board, we are already talking about academic year 25-26 because it will take us that long to be able to build those schedules, that programming, making sure everything's in place.
And doing the budgeting and things like that for that
Correct.
too, yeah.
Correct. So the board just approved the budget at our last meeting. We will send that down to the state, and then the state will absolutely cut it
Carve it up,
and bring it back to us, and we need to make sure that we're ready to roll with that beginning January 1st.
Well, thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing a
Absolutely,
little bit
I love it.
about the ambassador program.
Well, thank you both for being part of that, and our desire is at some point to open this up to community members, whomever would like to come and to join. So I believe that will happen with the next academic year, that we will grow it for open public participation.
Thank you for running that program, and thank you for all you do for our community.
Absolutely, thank you.
So trivia, you can play the trivia game. here.
Okay.
When I said presidential election trivia, you're probably thinking, oh no, that's
Yeah.
But this is, how many U.S. presidents have been elected on November 8th? 6, 7, 8, or 9?
I'm gonna go with 8 just because it's the 8th.
We find the answer here. What's the answer, Tanner?
To be
7.
Oh.
Lincoln, Cleveland, Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, Kennedy, George H.W. Bush, and Trump. Previous election.
Cool. Alright.
That's interesting.
Interesting. There we go.
That's a little known trivia you can hold in the back of your
You
head.
never know when you might need that again.
So we'll close with words of wisdom today. Opportunity does not knock. It presents itself when you beat down the door. That's from Kyle Chandler, an American actor.
Jana, thank you. Todd, Tanner, thank you. We'll talk to you again next Friday morning.